Yes.
We'll
All
see
right.
what happens. It
Yeah.
says it's receiving our content, but I don't know, man. It's like, do you really consider what we do content?
hmm Well, we do spend a lot of time in front of webcams and we're live, uh, just talking out of our ass. It's a very good looking ass. YouTube hasn't given us any shit because of our ass.
No,
I'm
it
just getting
hasn't.
all the swear words out before we start, okay?
Also doesn't give us any monetization.
And we don't get 1,000 views in 7 days, so we can't really ask. Well, we can ask, we just don't get the
Mhm.
manual revision. It's alive!
Boop. See, look, I remember to do that.
Everybody boops.
And if you want the audio only experience, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're a patron, which most of you are,
Yes.
let's face it, if you're watching live, live chosen. It's on, it's active. You don't even get delay. You hear us in real time. It's terrifying.
Yes. You basically just need to do what Empty did. Go in, make sure you're muted.
Oh, no, you don't
And
have to worry about any of that.
oh, okay. So make sure you're not muting the audio from the room, like Mira just figured it out. Hey,
You can just pop right in and grab that. You don't have to worry about anything. It's read only is the way to think about that room.
you know,
It's definitely a thing.
reading with your ear organs.
It's kind of brilliant, man. You make it sound dirty for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Okay, that's the social media posts out there.
It's a thing. Whew. You know it's bad when you're at 3,840 pixels, right?
hmm
And that taskbar is lined up. And auto expansion is not on.
Yep.
And that's just one of the four monitors.
Even I am one of those idiots that, on accounts of 69 displays being the standard nowadays, I have my panel vertical. It's off to the left side of the left monitor. And okay, the icons are a bit big, but that's just because I like to be able to slouch and still see what's in my panel.
Hmm.
But yeah, if I record something with Audacity, OBS, Pavu control, GUVC view for the camera controls, everything else, whatever I happen to be recording, that panel is full. And the kudos to KDE, that's one of the things that actually works. You get the little arrows at the top and the bottom to scroll through the icons. Good on them. Oh no, they're
What?
speaking Nordish.
What are you talking about?
Romlock and Narlin. I just pulled an ignorant because I genuinely do not recognize the language.
Oh. It's a good language for navigating ships, bad language for communicating thoughts.
That was let's see. Objective analysis of languages. German is probably the best language for learning because everything is pretty phonetic. As you write it is how you read it for the most part. It's just learning how to read it that is the big difficulty. And of course understanding what you're reading.
As someone who's taken a look at Portuguese and just went, nope.
Portuguese is a fucking mess. You think French is a fucking mess? You haven't learned Portuguese yet.
No, I can read French. I can BS my way through some French, man. I read an entire AMA from the creator of VLC in French the other day. Yep, I remembered way too much of this from secondary. And Portuguese.
Yeah, no, French is like a Slightly more sensible version of Portuguese, but yeah, they both have the exact same issues, which is a shit ton of verbal tenses. In English, you have three. It's present, past, and the other past. You get like do, doing, and done as an example. You have three verbal tenses. Conjunctions, conjugations, maybe? I don't know. According to US diplomats, German is the second easiest to learn category. Yeah, German is legitimately an easy enough language to learn. And the only reason I never learned it because I never really felt the need to.
I'm okay with this.
What about Catalonian? Do you know anything about their language? A little bit. It actually sounds, if you listen to
Do you know anything about Catalonian? Neither does 60% of Catalonia.
If you listen to someone actually speak Catalan, you can, well, if you're Portuguese, you understand everything because the way that they pronounce things is very similar. But then you look at the way it's written and you go, oh my God, what the hell is this? In that respect, there's a region in the north of Spain where it's got like a bastardized version of Spanish and Portuguese. Galician, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of the language. And that is actually, that's perfectly understandable for both the Spanish and the Portuguese. And to be fair, the Galician people also seem to want some
I've
independence.
never understood why both you and Jordan both have an issue with attacking the microphone randomly.
Yeah, no, it's because it wasn't outside of my hand range.
That's probably why both of you fidget.
Yes, I am not as much on the spectrum as Jordan is, but I have fidgety hands and restless leg syndrome and a few others.
You just got to get you a couple of pretend control surfaces so you're always working on something.
Let's see. What about Basque? Basque, I don't know. Well, I know of it. I just don't know it. I tried Influent last night. Neat game. Have the Spanish language. Yeah. Influent is, from what I hear, is a very good learning tool for other languages. And it's available on Linux.
You should get that typing simulator.
Which one?
The one with the big fox.
Oh, that the broken one. Yes.
It was the game we played for the Chirquisition.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
It gets
called,
nasty
but...
on you until I figured out a nice little hack that I think everyone adopted. It's like if you start just intentionally, because you had to type in order to fight, and it was it's one of those joints, right? But if you intentionally just start butchering what you're trying to type, the game's like it backs off of you.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
But no, at one point during that game, before it, before I could progress any further, it literally had me type hippopotamosis esquipedaliophobia. And if you don't know what that means the fear of big words. That game will teach you the meaning of hippopotamosis esquipedaliophobia. My video is lagging behind my audio a bit. Don't know about that.
Yeah, I told you. It's like a 0.06 millisecond delay.
Yeah. Yeah, typing of the Dead is, well, that one works with wide. If you happen to have it. I wouldn't recommend wasting a heretic purchase on it, but if you already have it, yeah, that works with wide. The video is lagging for me only because I'm listening to the audio via Discord. Well, you're cheating. The good kind of cheating. The Patreon kind of cheating.
Let's see. I'm actually playing with a latency offset right now, just for fun.
You're fucking with people, is what you're doing.
Oh, at this point, it's fair game. I mean, if you're noticing a 0.6 millisecond latency offset, we're going to see how bad we can make it.
Concerned hipster leak. It's got the leak button. Oh, there is like a teeny tiny canteen cafe thing near the office, and we usually go there on Fridays to get bacon rolls because goddamn those bacon rolls are really good. But if you ask the male barista there for like anything more complex than a regular espresso or an Americano or something like that, then you get a cock drawn in the foam. You get the penis foam. Because, and he does it just like, yep, done. And there's no mistaking it. I need to take a picture at some point. That is very much a penis.
Let's see. So, with latency, that's going to be fun to play with. We're going to be doing this Saturday in the pre-shows. So,
do you get real time? Well, if you're recording with Audacity, you get almost real time waveform. God damn it, I was missing the word.
yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with it, ballparking. It actually does, doesn't it have filters for audio offset?
Yes, you can set it in the if you double click the audio capture thing in OBS, you can set the delay. I think it's a double click.
Would it be under filters or properties?
Just double click on it.
Yeah, no.
Let me look it up. Let's see. No, that's not it. Okay. Not properties.
I didn't see it under filters either.
If you add a filter, no suppression, no. Scene transitions. There is a advanced audio properties. If you click the wheel, like the cog wheel in the OBS, you pick the audio stream and you see the mixer. There's a cog wheel there. You can just click on it and it'll give you the sync delay.
Under advanced audio properties.
Yes. There it is.
All right.
In milliseconds.
So that is, let's see, 2-3 shots. So if we take that, riveting television, ladies and gentlemen.
I do the opposite. I don't listen. I just stare at what it accounted for. Yeah.
Let's take that to about 6 and see what we end up with.
Big bag of nope, usually. I don't know.
Good man.
40.
Let's try 8.
Let's see. Someone once said that the human brain can't notice a delay lower than, what was it, 12 milliseconds? 11 milliseconds, something like that. It's bullshit. I know that. Everyone knows that. But yeah. Apparently, the human eye can't tell the difference between 60 and 30 FPS either.
Well, I think one of the things is your brain organ will compensate.
Yeah, that's something the brain does. Like, if you've ever been on a bus, like a double-decker bus, since I'm in the UK, let's use that as an example. You go to the top floor and you just sit there. Every time the bus turns, it tilts, and yet your eyes still see straight. That's your brain automatically compensating for that. It's like if you're riding a bike in a moderately bumpy road, but not too much, it will compensate for the all the shakiness. You will still see as you would normally. It's just that if you have a camera and you're recording that shakiness, you're going to see it. That's how much your brain compensates.
Let's see. Give me a clap test. A single clap, not a double clap.
Okay.
Do it again. Okay, so let's try 35 millisecond. All right, give me a clap. One more. Almost. Let's go to 45 because we're doing this like a broadsword.
Cross the ocean.
Again. Not really seeing much of an improvement here. Let's go to 60.
I don't know if you'd see it on your end.
I think we're encroaching.
Okay.
Well, I mean, your sync's coming in fine. I think the issue is because I have you routed through a virtual cam.
You still have to account for the delay
Right.
of the virtual cam and then OBS.
Okay, hang on. Let me go to 80. Okay, so we're at 80 milliseconds. Try it now. Say some words. Let's see how that lip sync looks.
Saying all the words, judging the lip sync. I honestly don't know if the OBS preview window is a good measure for that, but hey, I guess Shetrelm will let us know at some point.
We'll play around with it later. We got a show to do.
Indeed.
Well, actually, if I just put it in studio mode, it should give me the...
Yeah, if you can see it.
I mean, I'm just going to leave it at 10. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm going to go get a drink, then we are going to get this party started.
Yes. I forget. Was the audio delayed before? It's ahead of the video now. Well, apparently it was delayed before. Or the video was delayed before. It's something like that. I don't know, Patrick Kane. You were the one who complained. Let us know. Oh, it's great. Nothing like having a meme generator for president. And that's as political as I'll get tonight. I see. Still gotta play the game we're throwing chairs at this week, which you'll know which game I'm talking about if you watched yesterday's live stream, which apparently Mir didn't watch because he only realized that there was a live stream happening right at the end there. Or maybe he was watching the whole time and just thought he was going to be clever about it. I'm on to you, Mir. I'm on to you. I swear it was almost synced up halfway through the tweaking. Right. It's still delayed, but fuck, we'll do it live. You may have something. Are you using Bluetooth headset, Patrick Kane? Because I've noticed some delay when using a Bluetooth headset. There are every now and again, Pulse Audio will just go blow and introduce delay.
Like I said, we'll play around with it Saturday.
Yeah. Because Romblock says that now the audio is ahead of the video.
Minimize the window, leave sound on.
There, fixed.
Problem solved.
Everything's wired. Well, then, I don't know.
Like I said, that's what we get for playing with it live. There's...
Just up, be gentle. Never.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Let me get my nicotine fix.
Yes.
I still got to go watch Kingsman, man. Damn it.
Yeah, that came out.
Yeah, that just popped. That has been my reward for a thing I did for like the past 2 weeks, and I keep forgetting to go do it.
I still see the ads on the sides of buses. It's now Kingsman, the new Call of Duty, and Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah. All right. Let's get this.
Sean Road?
Do you want to lead it off?
Sure.
All right. So I'll take number 2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Let's start the recordings. Coming in, let's see. 3, 2.
Ubuntu 17.10 Beta 2 goes full Wayland.
Microsoft really, really wants to help.
We are the 4.83%.
And Linux gets a new digital painting tool. It's kind of awesome. Speaking of that, it's a great day for Linux, everyone. Let's go. Eventually, I'm actually going to have our intro in there. That was one of my things to do this week. Then I lost yesterday to Blender. So,
Woohoo!
3, 2. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, take that midweek break to cover all the fun things that we find going on in the world of open source, or basically anything that ticks with an internal penguin. I don't know. Is that the wrong way of saying it?
No. We will cover Linux projects that are not open source, namely some drivers, which we will get to at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of fun, man. What have you been up to, man? It's another week.
Another week, another very productive week at work. Let's see, I've been there for a month and 3 weeks, give or take. So I'm mostly starting to get my bearings now. I know what to do without having to ask. Everyone's like, what do I do with this now? So
all I'm hearing
yeah,
is that
I
you've
feel
gotten
very
really
productive
good
now.
at making coffee for your boss.
Well, they also make coffee for me. It's whomever is going to get coffee just asks everyone else, do you want coffee? All right, coffee for everyone then.
Hey, coffee for everyone.
That's a good system.
It is. Yeah, man. I guess I kind of hit it at it. I've been playing around with Blender, get that installed, get it working with the GPU compute with the NVIDIAs and the CUDAs, utilizing a 980 and a 770. I'm going to make a quick how-to because, man, there is not a good singular guide on the interwebs. Not from the Googles for that. And it's so simple. You can do it. I got it down to 4 commands because I'm lazy. Keep a lookout for that later this week. But let's get right into the business of 1710 Beta 2. It's out. And what is new, Pedro? I mean, is it going to Julianne Fries?
Well, not much is new. It is still very much using well, it will be the first version to feature GNOME, obviously. But Beta 2, if you're just getting the regular Ubuntu flavor, you also get Wayland if you installed it from a fresh ISO. If you are, or if you've already been using the betas like I have on the ThinkPad, you will get a big update, and it will come with all the Wayland stuff that all gets a nice boost and it gets installed, which is actually really, really awesome. But yeah, mostly you won't notice anything. It's just, oh yeah, they're showing window snapping there.
I don't know, man. That looks kind of sexy.
Even XFCE has window snapping nowadays, so that's nothing new. But yeah, they also have a new login and lock screen, which I'm guessing since everyone nowadays seems to be using that old Unity greeter style thing for a light DM, they figured they had to do something different with GDM3. Yes, they are going back to full-on GDM, which makes sense since they're using GNOME.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, they're rocking out with that global menu HUD. I know, being a beta, launching with Wayland by default, and this article from Kumbuntu and all that business, but saying you're not going to notice anything. It's like, unless you're a gamer, you probably will notice some things. But yeah, it does have X by default still in that business. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm more excited to see what the fallout is.
Well, there probably won't be a lot because even with Unity 8, when Unity 8 came out, it was broken. It didn't work for a lot of people. Mirror didn't perform anywhere near as well as Canonical had expected. And, well, we got to see the fallout from that. That project died, as did Unity.
I'm genuinely curious to see what their GNOME reimplementation, their Unity skin pack on top of GNOME looks like. I kind of want to play with that because I want to play with everything, and I'm always curious to see how does it handle 4 monitors
with different X sessions for each and every single one of them.
Which should theoretically make it easier.
It should, yeah. That's kind of the point of GNOME with having removed all of the control from the user. Yeah.
I don't know. Good luck. I'm not going to try it out. I'm waiting for, what's our next? 1804 is our LTS coming up?
LTS 1804.
That'll be the next business on this particular box of business. But something that we've definitely had a hate-hate relationship with this show, and more importantly, Linux Gamecast Weekly for the past 5 years is Skype. And they keep on trying, little buddy. They do, and they have a new preview of the next generation of Electron-wrapped Skype for Linux is that's their code name for it, because calling it what it is probably not the best idea. This is going to bring you screen sharing, group chat, and air quotes cloud technology, which come on, Microsoft. You lot have been trying to make this Electron Skype workable for like over a year now.
Oh, and they've been pushing it not just on Linux. They actually pushed this particular version out to Mac and Windows back in August.
Well, when you say that, it's not the one utilizing web technology. It's not basically running Chromium.
Yeah.
Yeah, for your Skype
This is the new improved quote-unquote version. And the general consensus seems to be that everyone hates it. It's, I guess it's business as usual when it comes to Skype ever since Microsoft bought it. So nothing new there, but hey, you can actually download it. I put in the notes that the original link was dead, and during this week, whenever I tried to open that link on my end, I would just get redirected to Microsoft.com. So I guess they fixed whatever was going on with their UK mirror. But yeah, it's there. You could also find the direct link if you Google for it. If for some reason you really want to try it, I started it, looked at it, said, "That's a whole lot of fancy." Nope.
Technically, yes, it is. And listen, man, I still maintain that this isn't the entire new Skype, that the entire project is only staffed with dislike interns at Microsoft. That's the entirety
You
of
get
the
to work
team
on Skype.
that's working on it. I mean, seriously, you could do this right. And I don't like how people are using Electron in lieu of native apps. But you have things like we're currently using Discord right now for Patreons. Has an audio thing. We have our live audio going out over that. You can do it right. It works, and it's a good thing. And their audio quality just on Discord, a small startup, rivals the old version of Skype that we're using right now, also known as the one that works. I think the big takeaway from this version is it adds all the new features that Windows and Mac users have hated for the past few months, because Microsoft is dead set on attempting to make Skype a social network. It's trying to make it a Slack type thing, and nobody uses it for that, and they won't. Microsoft, I know you're not listening, but if you were, just saved you a lot of time.
Yeah, and it's very clear that Microsoft is desperately clamoring for the days of MSN Messenger and how popular it was.
Oh, man.
Instead, Microsoft, let it go.
Microsoft's clamoring from the days of just do whatever we want, you're stuck with it because there's no option. We're Microsoft. Peace. And Microsoft.
But hey, they really want to help.
They definitely do want to help, man. Open source initiative OSI, you might know it. Microsoft is now a premium sponsor, so I think we can officially forgive them for allying with SCO and buying a Unix license back in 06. Said no one ever. They have done some less Microsoft-y things in the past, like they've released .NET in 2014, then more recently Visual Studio Code and TypeScript. But yeah, they're basically, I don't know, this reminds me of, what do they call it in the Catholic Church? When tithing, when you try to make up for your sins.
Oh yeah, you pay to be forgiven for your sins. Yes.
Get out of Tartarus.
Yeah. No. See, Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, there's still an ongoing legal case regarding patents that Microsoft holds, and they're trying to enforce it against Linux. I think it has something to do with file systems. I may be mistaken, but if I am, let me know. But if I'm not, that is still very much a thing. So they need to openly come out and say, look, we get it. No one likes FAT32. Microsoft themselves don't like FAT32. So
could be a thing, man. But I've always, not always, but I'd say in the past 2 years, maintained that under Satya Nadella, there's a part of Microsoft that doesn't want to be jerks, not for lack of a better word, but this show's family friendly. Trust me.
That's called the marketing department.
No, it's not the marketing department.
After Steve Ballmer, the marketing department is, oh God, we need to get back some of that goodwill that we lost.
I think their marketing department's too inept for that, Pedro. I think they're too stupid for that. Their marketing department likes glue sticks. They're too busy sniffing glue in order to do that. But there's a segment of Microsoft. It's like, oh, look, they're doing good. But there's so much entrenched, just old school Microsoft DNA. It's like, hey, guys, it's been, a few months since we did anything smitey or stupid. It was like, on it, boss.
Do you feel like paying 500 and something pounds or whatever it is in dollars for an Office 365 license a year?
Well, it's not even things like that. You see some of their open source. I mean, they've contributed a ton of stuff to GitHub. But then you see things like, we are forcing Windows 10 updates no matter what you say, or we're forcing upgrades to Windows 10, and you can't stop us.
And sneakily downloading it in the background, even if you said no, which means that those people on metered bandwidth got hit with a very significant internet bill. Thanks for that, Microsoft.
That's the thing. But hey, man, they're contributing money to OSI, so sometimes you got to make deals with the devil, you know? And, you know, I just can't really technically come with any strings, so...
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. One company that's always been really good to Linux, but there's definitely a vocal minority, a small minority, which I understand. I understand your point about them not opening their technology as NVIDIA. And they have a new driver out that has fixed a few things. For me...
Quite a few things. I mean, NVIDIA's always been a bit sparse with their changelog.
Well, until they get something. I mean, this is a beta driver. This is 387.12 they've rolled out. The two big things, well, A, they've fixed some G-Sync issues if you're lucky enough to have a G-Sync monitor.
To afford that kind of monitor, yes.
Okay, if you went out and bought a G, not like you got lucky and you had a scratch off and it was like a $3 ticket and you're like, oh no, it's a G-Sync monitor. No, let's face it, that probably never happened. If it did, call me. I want to know where to buy that ticket. For me... my UHD monitor that I use for our source input here is a DisplayPort because that's how you're going to get 60 frames a second at 3840 by 2160.
Unless you have HDMI 2.0, which admittedly not a whole lot of GPUs do.
No, you think dealing with DisplayPort under Linux is dodgy enough. Anyway, a big issue. This is strange because I have this, our co-host on the Saturday show, Jordan, has the same monitor, and Empty, who's also in chat room, has also been a co-host and helped us out, has the same monitor too. And we've definitely, outside of it, the siren going off, which if you've listened to our shows any amount of time, you know about the monitor siren at this point. We all go, who? We were playing Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Brad is the series we do for patrons where we're playing through the entirety of Left 4 Dead. Go back and listen because it was... Pedro, not Pedro, it was Jordan, Empty, and myself, and the siren went off, and we're like, whose is it? It doesn't cause us to blink, but one of the issues with DisplayPorts was resuming from suspend, and supposedly this sorts it 100%, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. I've not had a problem with it for a while. The actual DisplayPort... I had a bad, oh man, if you get a bad DisplayPort cable, it will cause all types of weird nightmare things in your system. I don't care what operating system, the way DisplayPort works. I ended up buying a DisplayPort to mini DisplayPort, and that fixed everything with this monitor. Is there anything else in the drivers that they did?
Nothing much. They fixed a few... Yeah.
Alt-tabbing with a Vulkan, which I'm not brave enough to alt-tab Vulkan stuff at this point.
I honestly don't remember ever alt-tabbing something Vulkan, but I've never really had any issues with Vulkan stuff outside of the black textures in Serious Sam and the black screen that you'd get if you started Serious Sam in Vulkan mode. Mm-hmm. But then if you did that weird workaround of starting it in OpenGL, then changing to Vulkan once the game was running, that worked fine. I don't know what was up with that, but hey, Crow Team fixed that. Apparently it wasn't exactly a driver issue, it was just an implementation issue. So that's fair. No, they also added support for YUV 4.2.0 compression on monitors connected through DisplayPort. Admittedly, on my end, I only have this monitor connected to DisplayPort, and it's using an adapter to HDMI because these monitors, 1080p monitors, they only have HDMI and VGA ports. Go figure. Yeah.
Installed it. I mean, I'm running it right now, and I haven't seen any issues. Again, the wake from sleep hasn't been an issue with this monitor for a while. It was a huge thing. We had our own janked up workaround to get it to wake up. So, good on NVIDIA.
Yeah, there were a couple of people reporting issues in the NVIDIA Dev Talk forums. Let's see. Some were not being able to see the power output. If you use NVIDIA SMI, you know that there's a power output option there. That wasn't working for some people. there was someone else with an Optimus laptop that using an external monitor was getting some weird weird glitches on the external monitor only.
Hmm.
So I guess that's something to look out for. But yeah, I'm running it too right now, and I haven't really had any issues.
Good on that.
Okay,
Let's
so
just play around with
Gmail
this.
went to the terminal.
Gmail from the command line with Munt. Now, this says Mac OS, which, come on. You can make it work because you got to install all the Linux stuff in here. And it's definitely a thing. For me, this just falls into the stupid but neat section. It kind of came a little early this week, didn't it? And yeah, this is basically getting everything set up, just approve, install Mutt, firing up, plugging in your credentials. It's just IMAP access. And I was like, do we really need to write an article about this to do it? But it works. I tried it, and okay. I couldn't really come up with a use case for this because I kind of felt like this was reinventing the wheel, because I've definitely, unless they've changed anything, I have set up Gmail with Alpine, and it took like all of 2, possibly 7 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't really take all that long. Most email clients nowadays will just, oh, that's a Gmail account, right? Here's the SMTP. Here's the other one.
Yeah, I couldn't necessarily see anything different this was doing outside of that. And if I'm going to be accessing Gmail from the command line, something has went horribly wrong.
Everything else in the house is broken. Oh God.
Exactly, right? It's not like the bad old days when your computer hole was the only thing you had. You were just out. You didn't have a backup. And I forgot my train of thought. I just oh right. I mean, listen, man. If you own a Fixie and you're currently drinking your PBR, and yeah, all right, maybe this is your thing. But it shouldn't be, because when I brought up that, I thought to myself, how about we tell the beautiful people a tool that's actually usable?
Yeah, and does a whole lot more than just Gmail.
What are you trying to say? But wait, there's more?
Oh, yes. A lot more.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about is Google Earth 3.4. This is a useful piece of kit, especially...
Oh, yeah.
Especially, I mean, this project will save your legitimate sanity, or what you have remaining of it, if you do it with a bunch of headless boxes. This says Google Search, Google Site Search, Google News, all from the terminal. Because have you ever tried to use Google anything with links? Guess what? Don't use this. This will make your life.
You can, in theory?
Oh, you can. You know what? I can go play in traffic. Doesn't mean it's necessarily a good idea. And you don't have to really install anything crazy or wild to make this work. I think this is just good safety net procedures to have on any boxes that you don't want to be sitting there typing, oh, let's get links installed. Something again.
That moment you're stuck with just a TTY. Any AMD user on Linux that used or tried to use an AMD GPU from like 2005 to 2014 knows exactly what I'm talking about, because every now and again, whenever there was an update for the drivers, and they were few and far between, but every now and again, you would reboot to a black screen of death and you could not get a next session going at all. So all you had was the TTY, and all you had was that one laptop that you needed for university the next day. So yeah, you were committed.
Well, I mean, there's also things to be said. I mean, if you have a borked video driver, you're playing with XOR config or anything like that, Control Alt F1. I mean, using your virtual terminals right there. I mean,
yeah, when you were stuck with the TTY. Yeah,
right. That's definitely a thing. So we got to talk about this, because the internet lost its collective mind. I shouldn't say the internet. I should say our Linux did. And it's like, the future's here, people. Future's here. What happened? And tell them about it.
Yeah, so there were plenty of numbers floating around this week. The first one was, Linux is the 6.91%. No, that's way too high. Oh, Linux is the 4.83%. Okay, that seems more reasonable, but still way too high. Okay, fine. Linux is the 3.04%. Alrighty then. Okay, so yeah, they've net market share. Every now and again, they will push out like a little notification to everyone who keeps
There's your problem right there. A thread on Linux
yeah.
or Linux master race. Ooh, yeah, not a place you want to go for the hard hitting facts or reality
No.
checks.
But yeah, there was like a big thing going on with Linux getting some massive market shares, higher than Mac when they got the 6.91%. And then they looked at it again. It's like, oh, it's 4.83. And now they've looked at it again. And if you go to net market share, you will see the September 2017 results are actually 3.04%. But those numbers came from somewhere, and yeah, those weren't the correct numbers because yeah, there's a lot of people trying Linux. There's a lot of people going to university or getting Chromebooks and getting their first experience with Linux, and then
Oh,
their
look at
tiny little
you,
brains.
robbing my bit from the show notes. I like it. Continue.
Just that one bit. But yeah, they can't really deal with that in their tiny little brains, and they end up going back to Windows. But if come the end of October and these numbers hold up, like even if it's just 3%, Linux will have come very close to Windows 8, and it's quickly, well, not too quickly now since it's actually dropped since August, but it is still very much encroaching on that Mac market share. That's good.
It is. I mean, at the end of the day, though, yeah, just that bit from your show notes. You like the thing I wrote. Yeah, got it. Plagiarism strikes
Just the first
again.
line.
He can't help himself. Don't worry. It's genetic. Um, it's back to school Chromebooks. That's all it is. I mean,
They're cheap.
we're done here, people. Hit the lights on your way out. That there is your spike right there. As soon as I read that, I was like, yep, yep. If you're going back to university, you go back. You're not going to buy your kid. All right, listen. Some people are going to like, no, Dad, I need
Got him a $2,000 Facebook machine.
the Alienware. You know,
A razor.
that's exactly it. If you fall for that, you're, hey man, maybe you just want to get your kid something nice. I'm definitely down with that. Or if you think you need that, I hope I would never be your like flatmate or in dorm with that thing running, zzz, you know, and the fans blowing out of it. But no, Chromebooks, 100% explain the spike. I know we were theorizing about it maybe a week or two ago. It's like maybe IoT devices, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, there's always going to be a spike in those, especially in those early days of university that everyone gets their first exposure to Linux and everyone goes home, okay, let's try this Linux thing on my whatever. And they try it for a little bit and say, no,
I think
too complicated.
when we see numbers like that, it's like something we've always definitely been facing with Linux adoption is it's hard to get it pre-installed. For the Chromebook,
Yeah.
that's solved, and Google just released, I believe, 3 new Pixels
Oh, yeah.
or Chrome, whatever they're calling them now, like 3 different versions with i5s and i7s and all that fun stuff. That was at the Google talk they gave this morning. That unfortunately I was teaching a class, so I didn't get to watch.
Professor Ved.
I know. Be quiet. And yeah, all right. That explains that. I want to see. Linux is definitely going to overtake Mac at some point, but only
For the sake of common sense.
with common sense, and also Mac's getting out of the PC business. They've been slowly doing it for like the past 4 years.
Then again, the same argument could be made for Microsoft, and they still have
Microsoft's
90%
getting
of
into the
shit.
hardware market. What are you talking about? What bizarro universe do you live in? They're releasing new
Well,
services. They're releasing the WinBooks or whatever,
And Windows 10s, yes.
and Windows RT. Wait, shut up. That never happened. Don't talk about it. I kind of want an RT tablet, just like one of those collector things where I can like physically nail it to the wall and hang it. It'll be great. It'd be more useful than the actual device itself. We should have put this next to the NVIDIA story, but we did want to give it a mention because it involves patents.
Oh, yes. And one such patent has expired. namely S3TC. If you don't know what that is, well, then you haven't been playing games for very long, especially not on Linux, because S3TC is the S3 texture compression algorithm, which makes textures slightly smaller as the processor is reading them out of the hard drive or SSD and sending them to the GPU, which means it's much faster to get those bits across. And that's good. You want the games to be faster and just have the GPU do what it does best, which is render those textures, even if they're in a smaller file, they will still show all of the nice little pixels. That is something you want, and that was something that was missing from Mesa. If you've tried to use an AMD or an Intel GPU on Linux to play any game, basically released in the past few years, you will have had to install libtxc underscore dxtn, which is the sort of open source implementation of S3TC, which most distros did not include by default because it very much infringed on that patent. So it was available, but it was always kind of a thing that couldn't be distributed by default. So now that the patent has expired, you can. And the who was it? Matt Turner submitted a patch to enable DXTN's code on default Mesa out of the box, and that's good. That's actually really, really, really good. It means you won't have to worry about that one extra library when you just install Linux on your laptop or whatever, and you can just play games even with the open source drivers, which is awesome.
Just in time for the technology not to be relevant. No, I'm glad everyone playing around with like the S3TC. I mean, it's been available in Linux since forever.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like Unreal Tournament days on Linux. So that's a good thing. You can play with it now. You can distribute it. It's in the Mesa. Just an awesome project all on its own. And interested to see where that goes. It's going to be a fun thing. I wanted to give this a mention, Pedro, because I think you'll agree with me on this. Google Plus is really cool, long as you don't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, no. Keep the normies out of it.
Right. And if anybody ever asked you about Google Plus, Fight Club it. And it's a ghost town. No one's there.
No, it's a ghost town.
Yeah. So, and unless you're like, wait a minute, that's what everybody tells me. Then we're 100% true. Just, yeah, either way. A few months back, they forced the redesign on everyone. With the old Google Plus, it had the Hangouts just built right in there, so I could absolutely...
it was right on the side there. You could always see it.
It was brilliant. I could justify because I always had Google Plus open on a monitor to just converse back and forth, so I could justify having a web browser open and having Hangouts. It was all nice and neat, and Google looked at that and they said, nope, we need to strip Google Plus for parts, so let's rip Hangouts. And then you'd have a Hangouts tab, but it's not nicely integrated like it used to be. And I know somebody right now is screaming, but there's plugins for your browser. And I'm like, I think Arthur and I had this conversation with. He's like, have you tried? My biggest issue with the plugin, outside of having a browser open for a chat application, might as well just do it in Electron, was currently right now, like most times, this is a very special use case for a very special little man like me. Chrome Beta, and Chromium, all three are going to be open. That's just starting this box every morning. And that plugin, Pants on Head's retarded. You can't, there's no way to train it. It just lights up everything as soon as I get a message. So I'm having to close all these notifications all the time. It was driving me up the wall. And it's like, well, why don't you use Vivaldi? Again, I'm not running a web browser just to have Hangouts open. So I went back to something I hadn't used in a long time, and billions of years ago in the future's past. That was Pigeon. You might have remembered it back with the old Hotness game. Remember that?
Oh yeah, he is Pigeon is a character in Super Tux Kart.
So I found this, man, and lo and behold, it works. There is a plug out A plug out. Ooh,
Plug out. Yes.
yeah,
Show title.
bringing it. Hangouts plugin for libpurple. It just works. You build it. You just what? I think it was a Git repo, wasn't it? Oh, they have a. Do they have a PPA?
They actually probably have the packet. No, that's the compiling. You just those are just the.
Yeah, it was just a make install, and
Yep.
there was nothing to it except this is like the most one of the most janky things I've done in a long time was literally using the network sniffer built into Chrome to sniff out my OAuth so I can log in. You have to do that. It takes you when you go to like, how do I get this? It opens up a YouTube video. It's like, all right, listen. This is a bit of a roundabout way to do this, but it works. Once you do it, I was like, oh, okay, all right. That's what once I knew what I needed, went in there, put it in, installed it, and you have all your Hangouts with Pigeon little footprint. Now it's like, but it doesn't do video. It's like, I don't use Hangouts for video. I use it. It's my text chat, man.
Yeah, that's most of everyone's text chat who isn't that goes to a social network.
Well, it's the text chat, and it also supports group chats. Unlike, because I know someone's like, well, you can just the XMPP protocol. You can just log into that with your Google credentials, but you don't get group chats or anything like that.
Yeah.
So.
And this one, this isn't exactly a new plugin. It's based on the old lib hangups plugin for Pigeon, which didn't work very well, but they got in, and it's actually not GitHub. It's available on Bitbucket. Once you build it, it's it works. And I, for one, use the stupid plugin. Well, I don't use the stupid plugin. I use the slightly less stupid plugin because there are two available. I'm not kidding. There are two plugins for Hangouts available. One actually creates like this whole. It literally puts pop-ups on your desktop. Just annoying. And the other one just gives you the tray icon that you can use like Pigeon would. But yes, you're still technically running Chrome in the background.
By default, Pigeon has a plugin enabled that does the desktop pop-up notifications. It's not an option built into Pigeon. I had to Google it to get rid of the damn thing because it's a plugin. Ooh, yeah. That made me a little stabby. But
I used just a teeny tiny plugin that just makes the tray icon, and you can disable the notifications. Just a matter of right-clicking and disabling it. It's not labeled as notifications. It's labeled as something else because Google likes to hide their stuff under clever names. Not really. But yeah, no, it's if you don't like the idea of having Chrome open in the background, and I'm right with you there. I've had Chrome memory leak twice on me, and the first time I still only had 8 gigs of RAM on this box, so. Just all of a sudden I started to hear my hard drive because I have my swap partition on the hard drive. I started to hear the hard drives going crazy. What are you doing? Oh, you're swapping. Why are you swapping? Chrome. Freaking Chrome.
If you're going to go for maximum slowness, you need to put your swap partition on a USB drive.
It's not slowness. It's an alarm. An audible alarm. If I hear my hard drive go crazy, I know that I'm swapping. I know there's a memory leak.
Unless you have your headphones on and you're playing a game.
Hey, yeah, that's...
Next story. VPaint just kicked in, man. We're kind of looking at this. Nori knows how to art, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Very much so.
And this is the thing, man. I mean, Boris Dalstein is creating the next-gen graphics design into... I know. Oh, we've heard this story before. However, this guy, doesn't he currently work at Pixar? So, kind of knows what he's doing. He's got a little Patreon because he wants to bring this business to the next level. And it's next-gen technology to make it easier for artists to create, 2D hand-drawn animations, graphic, all the stuff Linux needs. And yes, I know there are other projects. But VPaint... vpaint.org 1.6. It's out.
Mhm.
It's a thing. Dude's got a Patreon. He wants a little support. And hey, man, we rely on that like other people. So maybe you want to kick him a few shekels over there. The animation's your thing, and these types of projects, something in your wheelhouse. It's not packaged for Linux. There is a 64-bit binary where you can
Mhm.
build it yourself. You took it for a spin, right?
Just a teeny tiny spin. I basically just downloaded the binary, schmod plus exit, and yeah, it starts. It also does the, if you're trying to draw a shape, even with just the mouse, it'll try and correct the shape that you were trying to draw. It'll sort of do some predictive drawing as you are giving it suggestions. And I guess that's good because if you are, well, it's good for a complete narb like me, who's not exactly an artsy person and just wants to take it for a spin. But if you are an artsy person and you're being very deliberate with the shape that you're trying to take, that may get annoying. And I didn't dig around the options menus all that much, but there's bound to be an option to disable like the predictive stuff. There has to be, please.
Probably should be. It's a neat project. We wanted to give them a mention. We'll
Mhm.
him a mention to continue doing work like that because, as we've all learned over the past 5 years, day jobs plus this is a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
But maybe you'd like to kick in, support the show, and get some cool rewards in return. We have a couple of ways you can do that.
Oh yes, you can go to linuxgamecast.com, you hit the support button, and you'll get a whole page of ways to support us. You get the Patreons, you get the Amazon affiliate links for 4 different regions, so chances are most of you listening to this right now will be covered. There's an Amazon wish list if you don't want to, give us some wet stinkies. You can buy us some stuff directly. There's PayPal donato buttons, and of course, those magic internet monies. But if you are going to support this train wreck, what we call a midweek Linux news show,
We do some wacky stuff, man. We just got finished
oh,
playing
yes,
some
we
Dying
do.
Light last night.
Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast, and you'll be able to get all the things we do. There are currently a few Patreon only posts, including a really, really terrible video of me reviewing a not so very good laptop. So if you want to see that particular train wreck, why you would, I don't know. But hey, maybe it's your thing. Just kick us a few shekels. You'll get much more than that, much more entertaining content than that for sure.
Wait a
Because
minute.
you also
Wait,
get the
wait, wait, wait,
pre-shows
wait.
and
No, you need to hold up, man. Are you? We got to work for this.
yeah.
Oh man.
Guess so. I mean, you can't really go out in the street. Well, you can go out in the
You
street
can.
and ask people for money, but most people just give you the what?
And
What?
unfortunately, you see a lot of people doing that on Patreon. They're like, "Yeah, what reward goals? What's that? Oh yeah, don't worry, guys, I'm getting around to it." And another cool thing you're gonna get access to is Discord. This is where the Misfits, we include ourselves in that group, hang out the other 6 days of the week. They get live audio streams. They get an option, especially in the after shows and on the live, to come in, chat with us, and all that other nonsense. We thank you a lot, and yeah, all we're asking, 4 quarters a week, $4 a month, 16 quarters a month, man. If you've been thinking about it, hook us up. It's brilliant. It keeps us ad free and helps pay our bills. It's neat, and we like doing this. We hope you enjoy it. Now back to that tantalizing. See, I think I can get away with that and just say I mispronounced it. Time for a tantalizing slice of pie. Now, what do we have?
Oh, stop it!
No, I'm trying to figure out what this is on this week's slice of pie. Is that like a diseased Oreo?
I think it's an Oreo cake with either Skittles or just the non-thing M&Ms, just the flat ones.
It's the
I think.
M&Ms, but you got to throw their QA department. They throw out all the W's.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What do we have coming up this week? Read-only Raspberry Pi, man.
Oh yes, and this is probably something you've done yourself if you've ever tried to use your Raspberry Pi as like a kiosk to drive a display with just a very simple application and have it say play a game on your bar. Just have it on the corner there. There you go. People just come into your bar, they drop a quarter in, they play your game, but you don't want them messing around with your Pi install. So chances are you've probably already Googled how to make your Pi read-only, almost. Well, this is what this project is all about. You can download the read-only Raspbian Stretch Lite ISO. It gives you, they actually give you all of the necessary bits that you need to change to after you've done all the customization, after you've installed everything you want, after you've set everything the way you want it to work. Run that script. It will be read-only unless you go in with sudo permissions and you mess around with more stuff. And that is really neat.
Yeah, man. I think anybody who's thinking about I'm going to make, because listen, the Raspberry Pi, the Pi platform in general, and if you're 1, 2, 3, whatever, or you know, the Ras W, you probably have thought or have already done an Internet of Things, whatever, with it. It's been one of your projects, and I think anything you're going to have facing the internet, yeah, should be read only.
That's just good practice nowadays.
It's good practice, man. And back in the dark ages, we used to have some servers that would just boot off CD. I mean, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a live session. It's read only.
And it's basically all you could do. It's good to see stuff like that, and it's security, but that's not as secure as what these lot are up to.
Oh.
Hey man, booga booga, government's out to get you. Now you too can do
help the NSA get your fingerprints.
Listen, if you have some duct tape and a Galaxy 8, you can make your own iPhone. Just not the 10, because I got rid of the fingerprint scanner, even though it was a neat feature. Build your own fingerprint reader. Yes, this is actually a thing, and you can do it for under 160 wet, stinky American caches. All the project stuff set together. The Raspberry Reader. Biometrics, man. That's the thing. I don't know how I feel about this, man.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of neat. I was sort of disappointed when I read this story because, as we know, there are quite a few laptops nowadays that have fingerprint readers built into them. And if you try to install Linux on it, that fingerprint reader is a dud because you won't be able to get it to work. So when I saw this, I thought, ooh, someone actually developed an open source fingerprint reader driver that works with the Raspberry Pi. That's neat. No, they just made a really clever use of some cameras and a few other components, which admittedly, it's very, 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 very clever, to the point where they can actually work around the, falsified fingerprints.
Wait. Okay, that if I've walked into some, go ahead. That's a sketchy looking box. I love the project, but if I walked into somebody's house and they had a box like that, it's like, nope, I'm out of here.
That's a 3D printed box.
Well, of course.
But yeah, they actually did. It's the thing that sort of made this article for me was, yeah, they have a way of figuring out which fingerprints are real and which have been falsified. So if you're trying like different ways of using fake fingerprints like latex or the silver coated what have yous, all of that, wood glue even, all of those they tested them and they didn't work. The little sensor was able to pick out the difference. So good on them.
Remember, kids, if you have bolt cutters, all fingerprints are real.
Yeah.
I am just saying that makes it easier to get through the knuckle joint because, the tendons, they're hard to separate.
Yes, Sven, we get it. We're already demonetized. You don't need to hammer it home.
It's just a pro tip. Hey, if you would like to help us demonetize ourselves further by sending in some questionable content, you can by heading over to linuxgamecast.com. Hitting that contact button, we've updated it, so we have a couple of options now. You can do LGC Weekly, Daily Wednesdays, or if you're trying to send us some review copies, you can do that. Or other. That's better used for asking about relationship advice on the Saturday show. Jordan will get back to you on that, but we definitely...
That's all, Jordan.
Like chatting in your direction, so you can tell us what we're doing wrong. That's our favorite, or maybe maybe we kind of messed up, got something right, and that's a good idea. Or if you have some ideas for the show, something we should do, something we should stop doing, or you know of a cool project, be like, hey man, maybe you guys should talk about this or spotlight this and let the world know about it. We've been known to do crazier things. What do we have coming up first?
Well, up first we have Tech Zero, or Tech Zero, however you want to spell it. And he's actually talking about the Slimbook review, what I did not too long ago, which was, well, I was disappointed in that laptop, and I think it showed. So, but he actually came back and said, it's neat to see GNU/Linux distros officially distributed OEM like that, but I think I'll stick to my Asus ZenBook running Mint XFCE4. That said, I'd be interested in seeing how a standard user would react to it. Probably someone that's not really dedicated to Windows, but hasn't ever gotten into Linux distros for one reason or another. Don't care for KDE, but I could see it appealing to a standard user. It's very clearly targeted at appealing to MacBook users. That's not exactly the standard user you're talking about, so even then I fail to see the appeal of the Slimbook. Well, I see the appeal of the Slimbook as someone...
The problem is if you're going to appeal to Mac users, you need to have the same build quality as a Mac. You can rightfully say a lot of nasty things about Mac, and I'll back you up 100%. But when it comes to the build quality of a MacBook, I mean, outside of the touch bar, that thing's stupid. That's asking.
That was really stupid.
That's a special one right there. I mean, that's short bus engineering. Outside of that, man, they're built really well. Mm-hmm. And of course, yes, see, you can send us some feedback because I know you're that one person that bought one and it exploded and killed your dog. I know. I was there, man. We were playing Sonic the Hedgehog earlier. Yeah, man, that's a thing. I agree with Pedro. Just like what you showed on that Slimbook, not unfairly tearing it apart or anything. Just like, hey, man, it's got some build quality issues. Aside from anything else, it's got some build quality issues, and it's hard to get past that for me personally. Before it was like, oh, but take a look at what's inside. And I was like, it's a Linux laptop, Brad. Been there, done that. I have T-shirts. All right, you can that's another thing Apple does is like, let's repackage the same thing and like put another number on it. Okay.
Yeah, but if you repackage something hard enough for a long, long time, you get really good at it.
You do, but another piece of feedback from Yabo on the same topic. We had a bunch of feedback from this. He says, might as well share that I like these kinds of videos and do not mind seeing more of you guys ever come across some interesting hardware to share. We have some more hardware to share coming up. I actually have a video file I didn't get to download this morning, but I'll be taking a look at that tomorrow and begin my editing process. Also, I'll never understand the power button location. We're talking getting that laptop, and that was the upper right-hand corner, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's usually where the delete key on a regular laptop.
All right. I guess it's fine if you have to hold down the power button, turn it off. If is that the case? Do you just boop the button, or do you have to extend boop?
You still need to do the extend boop for like 3 or 4 seconds to power flush the laptop. But no, that was a really, really stupid decision on the part of Slimbook. I said that, and I will reiterate it as much as I have to. That keyboard was the single worst part of that laptop. I will excuse the light bleed along the screen edges because it was a review unit. It had seen a lot of hands. I will excuse all of that. That keyboard has no excuse. The keys are huge. There's enough space in between each individual key that you could lose your dog in it. And the stupid freaking power buttons on the top right of the keyboard. Stop doing that.
But Pedro, it has a Linux sticker on it, and you're saying negative things about it. Quit hurting the Linux community. You should praise undeserved...
Throw undeserved praise at it. No, I should not. No. Because... Wait. We need Linux built-in or pre-installed in all the laptops.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to say you did an actual review of a product instead of a Linux puff piece?
Yes. I threw my honest opinion out there on the internet about that laptop. It wasn't positive. But hey, guess what? That's not a very
We
good
apologize,
laptop.
ladies and gentlemen. We'll try to we'll try to make him one of us later on. We'll see if we can get him reprogrammed. Coming in last and definitely least, Hypo. He says kind of spooky, man. A little terrifying, just in time for October. He says, man, I don't know. He's talking about me. I hope. His voice
I
kind of
think
weirds
so,
me out.
yes.
He says, I'm like Lunduke, but meaner and more aggressive. And, oh,
Wait, you're like Lunduke? You?
we're the same person. Have you ever seen us?
Yeah, no, never seen the two of you in a room together, that's for sure.
Exactly. Listen, man. Somebody weirds you out, like creeps me out, like weirds you out. That's a little like I don't know about it because hey, man, check this out. It's 2017, and in 2017, it's perfectly acceptable to be attracted to the voice of another man. Unless, however, you're talking about Pedro and his voice, then you need to seek professional help
that
immediately.
would be genuinely weird.
Right. That would be petrifying, terrifying, horrifying, stupefying, mystifying, and other fyings yet to be discovered by humanity. It would be some nightmare fuel, but I think that's going to do it, beautiful people. We've had fun. It's been another adventure in Linux land. We'll see you next week. Before we get out of here, if you want to get a hold to, oh, geez. There we go.
The mic arm,
monitor.
just follow that.
I got monitor blocked, man. Dang. At Vinstone on Twitter. If you want to contact me there, follow me and all that. Follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/Linux Gamecast. You can get alerts when we go live and all that other fun stuff there if you click on the ringing bell of doom. Where are you at, man?
And I, right here, am at unaccounted for on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on that ghost town of a social network. If for some reason you decide to go there, just scream at me. Either one of those, I will most definitely scream back at you. And I'm always up for a good discussion on the interwebs for those like 10 to 20 minute stretches at work that I don't have all that much to do. Yeah.
Well, let's roll the credits for our patrons and if you're listening to the audio version, just close your eyes and imagine that your name is about to appear on the screen because it is. It's definitely a thing. Oh, yeah. All those
There's a whole lot
producers.
of lovely, lovely people throwing us money.
Gorgeous, man. It's better than like this segment brought to you by Casper. It's a mattress. It came to my house. It was really hard to
that
set
thing
on
you
fire.
did just there was unpaid advertising.
That was not unpaid advertising because you didn't let me finish. You interrupting cow. It would have been a funny bit, but I'm not going to finish it now.
Yes, internet, blame me.
Of course, it's easy. It's natural, actually. It's like a muscle reflex.
Even at work, it's starting to happen at work too. People just blame me for random things.
It's probably not a coincidence, man. Maybe. What do they say? If everybody you know is an asshole, maybe it's not them.
But that's the thing. They're not assholes. I'm the asshole. I know that.
They're just pretending to like you. I would go into stuff, but way too soon right now. So let's see. I got to get these audio files saved to La NAS.
Indeed.
Boop. Let's export an AIF. Just to be safe. Because I've quit using waves.
How about Flax?
No, I don't like... FLAC is still a compressed format.
Wasn't it supposed to be lossless? It's
Free
kind of in the name.
Yeah, you can compress stuff and it can be lossless. Free lossless audio compression. What the hell do you think the C stands for? Crepes?
Yeah, it's... I always assumed it was just...
Pedro's about to walk into a conversation about audio. It's one place you do not want to be with me, son.
All I was going to say is I've always thought it was a compression in the same way that you can do the C in FFmpeg for copying the frames instead of re-encoding them.
Oh, what is it? FreeNAS, Norlin? just out of the box. Laziness. And the other
Thought raw PCM data.
right.
Ooh.
Well, FreeNAS is on FrankenNAS. The other NAS, ZathNAS, is running Drobo. Whatever. I mean, it's Linux based, but whatever Drobo's business is called.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just feed
I've
it.
never really futzed with NAS all that much.
It's just backup storage. It's stuff like if things in here explode.
Mm-hmm.
Which I realized when I moved everything.
Apparently, it's not compression; it's free lossless audio codec.
Which is compressed format.
I don't know. I just because free lossless, lossless. I just always associated that to not compressed.
You can do compressed lossless.
That seems kind of to defeat the point of having a whole term to mean.
I'm not 100%. I'm pretty sure there's like a default setting in KDE Live that has compressed losslesses. I'm going to bet money on this. What do you want to put down?
I don't know. I don't use it all that much.
I'm opening up KDE Live right now, ladies and gentlemen. Old Man Finn's going to take a look at this. Let me see. Where's our render box? Lossless compressed MPEG 4.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, is that like the OBS minimal quality loss, but much smaller video files for H.264? Yeah, because they have the almost lossless H.264, and then they have the one that's
almost
the difference
lossless. Oh, geez,
I
wouldn't use that. That just it's like, oh, little buddy, you tried.
They claim it to be lossless, but it isn't. But yeah, the one immediately below that is the indistinguishable quality, but slightly smaller file size than the lossless one. I don't know. I usually just use the lossless one because, hey, 1.1 gigabytes per second on the YOLO rate. So, yeah.
Come on.
There's copy.
This is on an SSD, too.
Is it the 840 Evo? Are you still riding that to the ground?
Yeah, I called that. Its name Crunch, and it will ride until it fails to recognize as a device. It has been.
It will happen. Don't you worry.
It was the drive 100% bought as a glorified mounted swap partition. That's not a swap partition. What is my purpose? It's like to die, little buddy. I'm sorry. Just like right out of the box. It's like
be written and rewritten and rewritten some more.
Trying to explain that, but it's like, okay, Linux Gamecast Weekly, the mezzanine file, the one that is completely uncompressed video, uncompressed audio, between 85 and 90 gigabytes every week. And I take that. That's going to be, as soon as you compress it, it's for the HD 720p version with lossless audio. It's like 750. The SD, which, is just like 480, whatever, with 96K mono, which is still not bad. That's usually about 4. So.
Yeah. That's a lot of audio. Let's see. I think the biggest one I ever did was the video for the Dead Island Enhanced Edition review. Which just the video, lossless, was 96 point something gigabytes. And then when Handbrake was done with it, 2 gigs ish.
2 gigs is about right for about 45 minutes to an hour if you're doing.
It was 40 something minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Reasonable compression and all that fun stuff. Video compression is just dark arts, man.
But it makes sense because in each and every single frame, there are pixels that are going to stay the same color. So you can reuse them. You
Oh
don't
yeah,
need to set a keyframe
adaptive bit
every different
rates
frame.
and all that. I mean, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
you can have a few seconds of video, and the file size would be smaller than a single actual captured frame.
Mhm.
Then you're just like Neo, and you're like, whoa.
Whoa.
And don't give me any static, man. I mean, if it wasn't for Keanu Reeves, we wouldn't have John Wick. So, and you know you like John Wick, even if you won't
Yeah,
admit it
yeah.
to
I still
yourself.
need to watch John Wick 2, but yeah, no, John Wick, the first one.
Mhm.
It's like watching Keanu Reeves go after Theon Greyjoy because he killed his dog.
Let's see. If anybody wants to pop in, I think we'll probably hang out for another 10 minutes. I'm going to hop over to the after shows, and
Yes.
if anybody wants to clip over to audio and actually participate.
If you want beer.
Let's see. No mic on this. Well, then what are you doing in the room?
Listening without delay, I'm guessing.
Creeping.
John Wick 2 is actually even better than John Wick 1. Alright. And I guess I need to go down to the local video store or rent myself a copy.
Yeah. Oh, man. One thing we're going to be talking about this Saturday. I guess everyone knew this. I haven't owned a console since the 32X. Yeah, I'm that guy.
PlayStation 2 here.
That's because you're a baby.
Like 6 years younger
He's
than
like
you
6
are.
years younger than I am. Yeah, I know. The PlayStation, because what is it? R3 PSC 14 11
RPCS3.
squiggly
Yes.
line. Yeah, that better name, guys. Come on, PlayStation 3 emulator. I was like, oh, what was it? Devil May Cry? I think. No, it was Dante's Inferno.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, yeah, man, we get it running pretty decent. I was like, sweet. And listen, I'm also that guy. I was like, I'm going to buy a copy of Dante's Inferno and have a physical copy because that's the way to get it. Now, admittedly, I'm going to get a digital version of it.
Yeah, because it's just easier.
Right. I don't have to get a Blu-ray drive and rip it, but
Yeah.
I will have that physical copy. And I'm just going a very roundabout way of legally backing it up so I can play it. Those games are like $20 still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, console games don't depreciate in value all that much anymore. Then again, neither do PC games. Dying Light, regular price is still like $40.
I think I'm good. We got a couple of game stores I'm going to go, like, because I'm not buying a used Blu-ray for a gaming console online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at that point you are exactly what the publishers complain about.
So, but yeah, I was looking for like new boxed, and it was like 25, 26 American What Stinky Cash is, man. It's like, I don't want to play it that bad. Listen, let's be real here. I might get 10 minutes out of this thing and go, all right,
Oh,
it
I
works.
will go down to Game and I will buy that brand new copy of Demon's Souls when I can find an online version that I can acquire.
The thing we're going to be talking about, we're teasing it right now. We're trying to get people to watch on Saturdays like we need more. With the emulator, the big progress report, as I'm sure a lot of you already know, is that they've added the basics of network support so it can connect to the PlayStation Store to download game updates.
Sony is probably going to do something about it, probably just killing off the PS3 user agent.
And I'm thinking to myself, Sony, if you just thought about this for a second, especially
Free money!
you're still making
Free
PS3s.
money!
You're making the PS3s, but you get people, the type of people who are running this in emulation with PCs powerful enough to do it, not going to buy PS3s, okay? Okay? They're not. You're not losing any money by releasing an official emulator.
In fact, you're making money because
Release an
if
official
people can
emulator,
access-
and let me finish this sentence. Release an official emulator and let people download. Because this was my problem. I was like, you know what? I would probably give you $20 right now if I could just install this emulator, log onto your store. It's like boom, and add it to my account permanently for mothering ever. You'd get 20. You would have had $20 right there. Done.
It's free money. You don't even need to put the work in. Sure, you may want to put some money in to run it through certification, make sure it's actually playing the games properly. But at that point, the brunt of the work has already been done. It's almost free money that you're getting for nothing.
I understand like the support nightmare of that.
Of course, yes, it will be nightmare to support, but they can say, okay, it's there, you can use it, but we don't officially support it. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to say.
Or just make it available to the team.
Yeah.
It'd be like, hey,
just give them all of the API, all of it.
And just ignore support because, you know, the first was like, it doesn't work in my i3 with Intel integrated, you know.
There will always be those people, and that's inevitable, yes. But just say, we don't support this. You can buy the games, you can give us money, but we are not going to support
Hey, Mir, you see that last part you put on there? For me, it doesn't exist then.
Pretty much.
Might as well not. I don't have Windows. I'm not going to go buy a $100 copy of software stuff.
Yeah.
No. Not gonna happen.
And you don't even get the disc anymore. It's literally just a bit of paper with the license written on it. That was the big thing. While I was still in Portugal, working at Biderico, I had to get Office 365 to run on all of the laptops, on all of the, like, they had all-in-one, they had 2 all-in-ones.
Oh, that's easy. You just launch it through the web interface and you're done.
Yeah. But I was going through it and I had the, because Microsoft had sent us like a bunch of boxes with the different licenses, and I opened up a box and, oh, there's no disk in here. It's literally just a teeny tiny bit of paper with a CD key on it.
The cases, especially for games and stuff like that, a lot of them are just for organized hoarders. I mean, collectors. So they can put it in their hoard. I mean, collection. That's about it. And
yeah.
I still have a key for Office 365 year-long subscription that came with that x86 Windows tablet.
No. I still have my, I have 2 different keys actually for Windows from my university days. One for Windows 7, one for Windows 8. The Windows 8 one I never used. The Windows 7 one, I upgraded it to a Windows 10 key and I had it running on VirtualBox for a while. Now it's currently running on that laptop back there that you can see.
I got a free copy of Windows 10 when they were giving it away.
Yeah.
I never downloaded it, but I don't.
No, I just put in the key and, oh, look, now you have a Windows 10 license. Neat.
So I do have that. So I guess I technically could install Windows. I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, I only put Windows on the cheapo laptop because, yeah, Nori is going to university and a lot of that software doesn't have a Linux version.
I don't know, man. I don't want it because I can look somebody dead in the eye and legitimately tell them I can't help you with your problem because I don't know how your operating system works anymore.
With Windows 10, they admittedly went back to the old way. It's basically Windows 7.
On that stupid tablet, it probably took me 10 minutes to figure out how to get to the actual control panel. Now, in my defense, it's because I refused to Google it. It was a personal challenge, as I said to myself all the time.
They do the HUD thing now, so if you just hit like the Windows key and then right control panel, it gives you the thing. It's GNOME. That's probably why GNOME is so popular.
Again, navigating Windows 10 with touch.
Yeah.
There's no right click.
You don't need to right click. Just there's a dedicated Windows button at the bottom. They still keep that one.
Yep, Arthur knows.
Yeah, it's got the old Windows 7 style version, the desktop version, and the new fancy Metro UI one. I know, I've been dealing with a lot of Windows lately. Mostly, it's still Windows 7, so I still know what I'm doing. That was the last version of Windows I genuinely used.
Like Vista 7's getting a little. Yeah, listen, I can. I'm not gonna lie. I could figure it out if I wanted to.
Mhm.
As long as I have an internet connection and some Google, we can get your issues sorted. Because basically, any type of desktop PC repair that's done in 2017 should just be
Yeah,
called "Let me Google that for you."
if it's sometimes even if it's hardware, but yeah, most of the software stuff, right? Google, right? That done.
You're not paying me to fix your computer. You're paying me because you lack reading comprehension,
Mhm.
and that's unfortunately a thing. I always like was frightened, still frightened. It's like that's a job skill. You need to be teaching kids how to search for things.
Well, kids nowadays, I've noticed that with smart devices, they're getting used to just having everything given to them
Well, no,
without
what they're
having to
used to
be.
is having everything on demand. You don't need to know things. Now, here's a
Yeah.
very valid thing, because I use this all the time. This is Trinity Operator Matrix. Do you know how to fly a helicopter? Not yet.
I
As
do now.
I was doing some plumbing work the other day. Didn't know how to do that, but it was on demand. I didn't need to know how to do that because I knew how to look for it. And I knew there was going to be YouTube videos. I was like, boom. Oh, all right. Now I know how to do it. All right. Let
It's
me go.
like, oh yeah, right. I have one of those. How does that work? Oh, oh, right.
Right, it's on-demand knowledge, and then there's basic things every kid should know how to do, like distill and brew alcohol. I mean,
It's not that hard. It's just condensation. That's the key. It's condensation.
brewing's more difficult than distilling. I'll admit that. And I mean, there's some basic things to know, but yeah, soon, probably within our life, I would say within the next 10, at most 15 years, you know, people forgot that Elon is like, yeah, I'm releasing worldwide internet access.
Mhm.
Anybody else says something like that, NASA says that. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. In what, 30 years? That
Google
dude,
said that is, but oh, it's only for the deprived
well,
regions.
they're doing that as part of like their moonshot, whatever they call it, with
Yeah.
a Google Loon and stuff like that. But SpaceX is actively deploying these little satellites as we speak. And we're talking like low Earth orbit satellites with like 80 millisecond response times. So,
It's still a sizable chunk of delay, but it's fine.
yeah, it's roughly what Jordan and I have from Athens, Georgia to Kazakhstan, Toronto.
Pretty much.
So it's serviceable. It's fast enough for us to play multiplayer games with,
Mhm.
like first-person shooters. And but no, I mean, once you have something like that, I don't know about knowing all the things and like the idea of memorizing stuff. I mean, as soon as you get out of university, unless you just hate yourself,
There are some things I still memorize, like my phone number.
I don't know a damn phone number, son.
I know my phone number. I know my mom's phone number. I know my dad's phone number. I could never memorize my little brother's phone number. But yeah, I know mine, my mom's, and my dad's.
Nope, nope, nope. I get a
At one point, I knew the landline for my parents' house. Then it changed when they went from dial up to ADSL. They also got a new phone line put in. So I never learned that one. Still remember the old one. Not going to say it out loud because I'm pretty sure it's been reassigned to someone else. So don't call that.
Right. No one go to Portugal and. Huh. All right. Touche, Turbo Brett. Touche. I don't know, dude. It looked a little rapey right there at the end, though. It's called holding the stare just a little too long to be comfortable.
What was it? Clerks 2? When Frodo gives Sam that look. The true ending of Lord of the Rings. Seriously, go watch Clerks 2.
I've seen it once, man. I didn't hate it, but it.
No, it's just the Lord of the Rings recounting scene.
Okay, take your word for it, dog.
Yeah.
500 megs, 500 megs, 9.7 gigs. That's our show size.
Sizable.
Oh, I have pre-shows in open too. Where the hell's the pre-shows? Oh, there it is. Derp, derp. That's not too bad. Okay, I think that's going to do us.
Yep.
We've been live doing this fun stuff, having a blast, as is Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Need some ideas, because now we are very... What I'm saying is, there's a great book written by SR-71 pilot from the Blackbird, which I've never read it. I bought his book just because I read the excerpt about him flying over Nevada and some one of those stupid trainer planes that I flew on, learning asked for his airspeed. He was just curious what it was. Yeah. And then there was somebody flying a Hornet or something near test base, proper jet, fighter jet. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm going to mess with this guy. And there's like, Cole Tower. And he's like, what's my airspeed? And the airspeed's like, whatever. It's like, I'm flying, with his partner, you fly in tandem in the Blackbirds. He's like, we hadn't completely gelled and we didn't know. And we weren't supposed to break, radio or anything like that. And he's like, man, just wanted to shut the guy in the fighter jet down because, they're going Mach infinity, across North America.
Yeah, suborbital speeds, basically.
And he's like, yeah, but I didn't. And he's like, it was about that time I hear a crackle on the radio. And he's like, tower. What's our? He's like, and he says whatever Mach they were going at, Mach 2.1. He's like, but I'm sure your instruments are more reliable than ours. And it was fun. He was like, and we had to get this communication in quickly because we're going to be out of communication range in 30 seconds. We could see the ocean coming up on us. Right.
Air control towers, pretty big ass range.
But the whole point of that story was, he talked about getting ahead of the plane. He was like, I think I can finally fly this thing now without it fucking me. That's kind of how I feel about our setup right now. I'm almost there. So we can start looking into doing some new things. I'm almost done shaking this thing down. So we'll be looking forward to that and bringing you some more entertainment. Hopefully we'll get some more people. That's always going to be fun, training new people. Oof. I mean, yay. New people. Pretend you didn't hear what I just... All right. We'll be up to something Thursday. We don't know what yet. And Saturday, come check us out, 9:30 Eastern Time. Should point out that Jordan's moving to the North Pole.
Oh, yes. He's coming to Europe.
So we're probably going to be doing some early shows. Probably going to be doing
fine by me.
All those early shows that we keep missing. I think we're going to be making up for them in like a 3-month chunk. We're going to get most, because I'm pretty sure Jordan's going to have like his first time of starting a show at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning.
I've been doing that for a few years now.
Right. And it's like, oh, I don't know about this, so I want to do it early. But There's going to be some complications. I can almost guarantee you, I've already brained about this. There's going to be some LGCs on Sunday. There is, because Daddy's got to work on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, me wiping off.
Chances are the final produced version probably still on Monday, early Monday.
Well, it's just a serious matter of me killing myself. I mean, literally, me missing a Saturday is 1/4 of my paycheck for the entire month.
Yeah, that's
so
a lot.
That's a thing. But if we do it on Sunday, we could do it early show, and I can still get it out in the same day. And it's still, I mean, it'll still be out on Sunday. It'll just be later in the evenings. So we will be working, and that'll give people in Pedro's time zone and stuff like that. Because I mean, if we're going to do an early show, and especially if I'm going to do one on, I'm going to make it hurt for everyone. You think, oh yeah, we'll do it at like 4, and I'm like, we're doing it at like 9 o'clock in the morning your time, because I don't sleep.
That's 5 a.m. your time, or 4 a.m. your time.
So you're saying I've been up for 30 minutes, so I've already got a shower. Got it.
I know, I'm totally down for waking up at like 8 a.m. on a Sunday and just doing a show.
It'll be a thing. All right. It'll be real. See everyone next week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.